Hey guys, Silverlord here, back again with another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Call of Duty Tactical Spawn, brought to us by the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys, who are going to remain fine folks for the majority of this review, despite the fact that I got some things to say about this figure right here. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get to the meat taters of this review and take a look-see at all Tactical Spawn, or Commando Spawn, if you're a old school Spawn fan such as myself, has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a collectible trading card, not with a DC figure for a change, but we got a Tactical Spawn card there. Very nice if you're into that sort of thing. Bio on the back, I think it's just the generic Spawn bio, so there you go. That said, did not know Al Simmons was from Detroit, Michigan. Very interesting. I always thought Spawn was a New York thing. That said, maybe it's not Al Simmons. I just didn't have my reader read the bio far enough ahead. But speaking of heads, he does come with a headset, which just kind of clips around his head. Like that. I might actually heat warp this a little tighter. That way it stays on a little better, but it does work for the most part. I kind of wish I had an antenna sticking off it. But that does remind me of the old school Commando Spawn that I have with my Spawn stuff. That said, he's got a couple little blasters here. He's got this one with the clip on the bottom, and this one which looks more like something Grifter would use. In fact, I think this might even be the gun I gave to Grifter from the gun pack. I don't know. But he's got those kind of in Spawn colors, because he, my friends, is an expert at branding. He's also got this. The Joker from Killing Joke's pistol. He also has a pistol holster on his hip. Why he comes with this and not just a regular pistol is beyond me. You ask me, that's pretty freaking stupid. So we will have to give him a proper pistol for that holster, because the only other thing I really think I'm going to display with this guy, other than the headset, is this big old honking bazooka here. Or rocket launcher. It's not an RPG, is it? Some crazy thing that blows crap up, but there you go. It's got one of those. I might even give him the one from the gun pack, that way the pistol and the rocket launcher match. But I will definitely be utilizing this headset, at least, from this pack. That said, you would think, taking a closer look at him, he also comes with a hockey puck display stand. We're used to seeing with all McFarlane Toys releases, this one having the Call of Duty logo on it. But you would think, being a Commando Spawn, he'd have two trigger hands, right? Nope. He's got just a regular grip hand on this side, which I guess, if you were risky and good with an X-Acto knife, does he have 4 fingers? Yeah, he does. I'm just tripping. If you're good with an X-Acto knife, you could probably heat this hand up, get it super soft, and cut the slit there and give him a trigger hand. I don't want to do that. I'm visually impaired. That's probably a bad idea. Even the trigger finger he's got kind of sucks. Like, I struggle getting guns in his hands. So, his hands are not very good. He's got the claws. That's kind of cool, but I'm curious if the grip hands from the Two-Face Batman will fit this guy, because he's got relatively large wrist balls and hands. I'm wondering if the peg size is the same. Have to wait and see. Maybe I can get a Batman with grip hands that's not that one, because that one's in storage and I don't know where the other grip hand is, and blah blah blah. Because if I could swap those hands onto this guy and give him 2 guns in each hand, well then he'd probably just brandish these 2 guns that he came with. The 2 smaller ones here, or possibly even 2 from the Spawn we looked at the other day with the wired cape. So with that in mind, as far as his articulation goes, if you have that Spawn, the other Call of Duty Spawn, or you know, Spawn with the Throne, Spawn with the Batman 2-pack and all that, he utilizes a lot of the same parts. So basically Throne Spawn, I think that was the first one, right? What comes first, chicken or the egg? Throne Spawn. So his head is on the double ball peg. It's hindered by this bandana here, which is actually a separate piece. You could take that off. It is all painted and whatnot under there, so, you know, you could do that. He does have a tilt side to side. Again, he rotates, but he does have up and down somewhat. Shoulders will go out, but this one is very loose. Like, very loose. I might send that to my buddy Evil Villain to put Kiki's in. That's so loose, but, you know, that is what it is. This side's not terrible, but it's still... We're lacking those detents in the shoulders as of late. I don't know what's going on with this company, but a little consistency with crap I would like to see. You know, if something's going to be loose, how about it's loose on everything instead of just, you know, the stuff I care about? And if stuff's going to be tight, how about it's tight on everything instead of, you know, the stuff I don't care about? You know what I'm saying? Said, can rotate all around. He's got that beautiful butterfly. It does work a little bit, despite all this heavy armor, or armored. He's got a bicep twist, double elbow. Double elbow is fine. I mean, I don't need that to be tighter than, well, that. On this side. Yeah, see, the elbows aren't bad. It's just the freaking shoulders. And then he does have ball hinge wrists, which again aren't very loose. It's just the shoulders. And then of course torso, he's got articulation, but it's very hindered. It does rotate, it does tilt a little bit, but it's nothing fantastic. Hips kick forward and back. Those aren't very loose, but they're not the tightest things ever, but not floppy. They do kick out. They both do. He does have a little bit of a thigh quiver in there. That does work. Double knee. That's nice and tight on both sides on this guy. I don't know why it can't be like that on every joint, but again, it is what it is, I suppose. I guess his knees are a little knocked here because I got him straightened out all the way. Let me see if I can get that. There we go. And then as far as the ankles go, he does have the ball hinges, but again, they will rotate, they will hinge, and they will pivot. But the rotation is tight, but the hinge is kind of loose. That said, he even has tight toe joints. Like, those like crack into place. So, very odd figure. Not the most consistent as far as the quality of the joints. I'd really like to see the hinges in the shoulders tighten up and the hinges in the feet tighten up on like all McFarlane figures, because some of them, they got it, some of them, they don't. It's a little monotonous with the whole, you know, QC thing still being an issue in this day and age. I mean, come on, it's 2025 as the time this thing is being posted and whatnot, not as the time I got it, but you know what I mean? That, and it's not my Commando Spawn. I like the big, chunky, you know, sci-fi guns and shoulder pads and headsets with scopes that you don't need on them and an unnecessary amount of spikes. That's my Commando Spawn. Hopefully we'll get like what we got with Medieval Spawn through Kickstarter, Masterworks, whatever you want to call it. And we'll get something like that in the future. But, you know, for now, this is good. This works with the Spawn Universe line that's out, and quite frankly is about as good from a quality standpoint as a lot of the figures in that line with the looseness and whatnot. But I'd say he's a little bit better than some of those, but still far from perfect. So with that being said, why don't we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's good old Commando Spawn and or Tactical Spawn, whichever you prefer, alongside the MK11 version of Commando Spawn, which is really a regular Spawn with some crap thrown on him. Still a cool figure, but like this Commando, Tactical, whatever you want to call it, Spawn, loose in several places. Unlike the other Call of Duty Spawn and the other MK11 Spawns, who are pretty rock solid for the most part. To my surprise, because I just got this standard Call of Duty Spawn as the time I'm recording this video, and he is freaking ultra bussin'. Check the review out of him if you haven't already. Would really appreciate it if you did. Getting these two out of the way. I will say the cape could have been a little better on him, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Then we also have the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith. And the infamous K11 Spawn, the standard first edition with the Thword, who, as usual, actually he's about the same height as Commando and or Tactical Spawn, because, well, they are the same character, right? Al Simmons, Commando, Tactical, whatever Spawn. I don't know. So with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the, quite frankly, crappy selection of firearms and the looseness in the shoulder joints and ankle joints, at least on my particular figure, I have to say that this is a very serviceable Commando Spawn and or Tactical Spawn, if you want to get technical with it, for your Spawn collection, modern Spawn collection, because I think the sculpt and paint is there for once, but I still think the QC could be a little better, especially with those loose joints, and I think the choice in firearms could have been a lot better. I mean, he only has one trigger hand. This is the Commando Spawn, right? Shouldn't he have two trigger hands? I mean, heck, the regular Spawn from this line has two trigger hands, and he looks like regular Spawn. He also has bullet belt, something I prefer on my Commando Spawn, along with big, chunky, Rob Liefeld, X-Force cable, whatever you want to call it, style shoulder pads, much like the vintage counterpart. So, while I do like this figure, I'm happy to have a quote-unquote Commando Spawn for the collection. It's still not exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm hoping that, much like the medieval Spawn we took a look at this past week, check that review out if you haven't already, would really appreciate it if you did, we get like a Masterworks Commando Spawn, like a redo of the vintage one that's loaded with guns, loaded with sculpt and paint, good articulation, good quality control, because those Masterworks figures are no joke. I don't have QC issues with those. Knock on wood, it stays that way, but you know what I mean. We need a tried and true Commando Spawn with all the bells and whistles to make this guy behind camera very happy indeed. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.